Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. First, Amrit Snan of the Maha Kumbh, the world's largest religious congregation, taking place today. Millions gathered in Prayagraj for the holy dip. Firefighters in Los Angeles brace up for more trouble as strong Santa Ana winds set to return. Looting adds to the misery of the displaced as US President Biden says rebuilding the city will cost billions. Oscar nominations postponed for second time amid ongoing wildfires in Los Angeles. Biden says ceasefire deal on the brink of coming to fruition. Negotiators to meet in Doha to finalise plan to end conflict in Gaza after a midnight breakthrough in talks.
The war between Israel and Hamas are on the brink of a proposal that I laid out in detail months ago, finally coming to fruition.
South Korea on the edge as suspended President Yoon's impeachment trial begins today. Court to decide if insurrection charges will apply against him. Let's begin this edition of DD India News Hour with updates from Maha Kumbh, the largest gathering of humans on the planet. The Maha Kumbh 2025, which began in Prayagraj with chants of bhajans and slogans on Posh Purnima on January 13th, is witnessing its first Amrit Snan or the royal bath of akharas on the occasion of Makar Sankranti. Millions of people gathered in Prayagraj to take a holy dip in the Sangam, the confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and mythical Saraswati. This Maha Kumbh is being held after 12 years, although seers claim that the celestial alignments and cosmic combinations for the event are occurring after 144 years, making the occasion even more auspicious. The Kumbh Mela, one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, continues to draw millions of pilgrims with various rituals, cultural activities and spiritual events scheduled throughout the festival. The Maha Kumbh 2025 began in Prayagraj on January 13th, yesterday, on the occasion of Posh Purnima. And this is supposed to be the largest gathering of humans on the planet. This is the biggest religious congregation that can be witnessed. Today, January 14th, marks an important day as Amrit Snan or the royal bath of akharas took place on the occasion of Makar Sankranti. And on our screens, we can see millions of people who've gathered there for the holy dip. This Maha Kumbh is being held after 12 years. And there is a reason for this time Kumbh Mela to be all the more auspicious because the events and the celestial alignments are occurring after 144 years. Our correspondent Siddharth Bhardwaj joins us. Let's get more from him. Siddharth, it's the Makar Sankranti morning today and January 14th, Amrit Snan is being witnessed there at the Maha Kumbh. You are there in Prayagraj. Tell us, what are you witnessing there? Get us through what all is the morning holding there at the Maha Kumbh.
Hello, good morning to you, Preeti. Definitely what I am witnessing here is something very, very amazing. You know what? I can see a flux of pilgrims who are coming in large numbers. It's the first Amrit Snan of the Maha Kumbh 2025, which started yesterday, and today is a very big day. Yesterday, it was a big day as well, but today, it's more significant. It's believed that when you take dip in the holy water, you cleanse your mind and body and soul as well. So people, large numbers are coming from all over the country, not just from the country, but also, we can see the influx of international pilgrims as well. sights to behold, certainly. And they'll be going and they'll be, taking dip in the Triveni Sangam, which is the confluence of rivers Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Preeti, and also there are travel restrictions that have been imposed here. Only cars, with proper passes, proper vehicles are only beyond the point. Apart from that, pilgrims are coming and they are very, very happy. The temperature here is dipping. It's slightly foggy, but people's enthusiasm is certainly to watch out for. They are doing, and all the chants which we are hearing here is of Om Namo Narayan and Jai Shri Ram. This is what we are hearing right now. We had a word with some pilgrims as well. They are saying that no matter how the temperature will dip or how much the temperature will dip, but it certainly cannot break our enthusiasm. So yeah, they are working towards different paths. Akharas are also, going and taking daily dip in Triveni Sangam. There is a sequence, 13 Akaras are there in total, and they're given the sequence as to when they will have to stick in the holy water. So according to the sequence, they are following the sequence that is given to them. So yes, the atmosphere here is mesmerizing, and all I can see is a large number of pilgrims who are coming here. And there at Kali Masjid, the entry gate of the Maha premises, and I can see large number of people who are coming here. And with their smile on their faces, and best part is this PT that they're not inviting. There's something called a call, and that's the reason why they're here. It's a divine power, which is getting them through the ghats. Apart from that, I was talking about the security arrangement. There is a 7-layer security deployment that's been done. Apart from that, NDRF, SDRF, local police, water police, of course, water ambulance as well. Everything has been checked to make sure that this grand festival remains peaceful, safe, and secure.
Right.
Talking about water ambulance as well, there have been 7 of them have been deployed just in case of very, very emergency which is required. In the Triveni Sangam, the water ambulance will certainly go, and there is a floating police station as well, to help all the pilgrims, who will be taking dip in the holy waters of Triveni Sangam. So yeah, everything is just magical, mesmerizing, and the world will fall short to see the environment here, which I can see make back to you.
All right, so everything is magical and mesmerizing there at Kumbh. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us this morning. Makar Sankranti, celebrated across India with different names and traditions, marks the transition of the sun into the zodiac sign Capricorn, known as a harvest festival. It symbolizes the end of winter and the beginning of longer, sunnier days. We get you more on this festive spirit.
Makar Sankranti, also known as Uttarayan, Pongal and Lori in different parts of India, is a festival of joy, harvest and gratitude. The day is marked by colourful traditions, from flying kites in Gujarat to celebrating Pongal in South. The festival holds immense religious significance, the devotees taking dips in sacred rivers like the Ganga and Yamuna, offering special prayers to sun god and seeking blessings for health and prosperity. As the skies fill with colourful kites and hearts with renewed hope, Makar Sankranti is a reminder to celebrate life's transition with joy and gratitude. Down south, Makar Sankranti transforms into Sankranti Sambaralu. In Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, it is celebrated as Pongal and Sankranti Sambaralu respectively. It is celebrated as a 4-day festival where families decorate their homes with rangoli, also called as columns, and prepare special dishes. Holy dips are a significant part of celebrations in states like West Bengal and Bihar, where the festival is called Posh Sankranti. People gather at riversides to pray and take part in fairs. From north to south and east to west, Makar Sankranti showcases India's unity in diversity, celebrating the harvest, nature and gratitude. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
Showcasing culture, tradition, colours and festivities on the occasion of Makar Sankranti, renowned sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik, through his unique sand art, showcased the continuity of a rich cultural heritage. and the main Magh Bihu kickstarts today all across the northeastern state of Assam. This gastronomical festival celebrates the transit of sun from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere. Therefore, at early dawn, people burn holy mejis, that is the bonfires across Assam. Various Assamese delicacies are prepared made of new rice harvest. Pitas made of sesame, jaggery, coconut are handcrafted by women and offered to fire god and ancestors. Community feastings, joyous meetings with family and friends fill the hearts of Assamese people with warmth, love and brotherhood. DD India's Subina Roy joins us from Assam's Tinsukia. Subina, good morning. And we've just given a broad outline of how Bihu is celebrated. It's a beautiful morning, and behind you I see a good sunny morning there. Let us know more about what all the day holds for the Assamese people. Tell us more about the festivities of Bihu.
Good morning, Preeti. Happy Magh Bihu from here, from all of us in Assam. It's a big festival in Assam out here because it is one of the largest Bihu festival, you can say, because it's a gastronomical festival. This is the time when the new harvest has just riped and there are varieties of rice which are available here, Preeti, like various kinds of glutinous rice, like kumul saul, bora saul. And with these various kinds of rice, different types of platter delicacies, Assamese delicacies are prepared, like pitha, til pitha made of jaggery, coconut. So we have with us, we are in Tinsukia district right now, and we have with us people from the Lankeshwar Gohai committee, Bhogali Bihu committee. Let us ask them more from the Assamese community, what they have to tell. Sir, your name?
Diganta Hazarika. I'm the secretary of this committee. Lankeshwar Gohai.
So we would like to start with a new, with a Bhogali song, please. Can you, if you would sing for us?
Okay.
So this is the time when the whole community was coming together and they dance together, and this these people preparing the Pelagoi, and the eve of the Magh is called Puluka, when the fires are prepared and the Pelagoi is there, and they prepare food, and the women also prepare different types of cuisines, Assamese cuisines like pitas and all, and
Magh Bihu in English. I'm quite good in English. So, that's part of Makar Sankranti is celebrated all over India. Assam is celebrated Magh Bihu. It is definitely a harvesting festival. So, when our Assamese people all over Assam.
Subina, there is audio interruption from your end. The audio is not clear. We'll try getting back to you again to get more on the Bihu celebrations there. As of now, thank you for joining. We'll try getting back to you again. And from one state, we'll go across to the other. Excitement fills the air across Tamil Nadu as families celebrate Pongal, the harvest festival. As the sun embarks on its northward journey, households are buzzing with preparations for this 4-day celebration that honors the sun, earth and cattle's role in providing a bountiful harvest. Communities are gearing up to prepare the traditional sweet Pongal dish, a delightful concoction of the newly harvested rice, milk and jaggery. The aroma of freshly cut sugarcane and turmeric will soon waft through homes as families gather to observe the time-honoured customs. The festival embodies the spirit of gratitude, bringing families and communities together to celebrate nature's bounty and welcome new beginnings. DD India's Anbarasan Ilangu joins us from Tamil Nadu's Chennai. Anbarasan, good morning, and let us know more about the celebrations, the Pongal celebrations in Tamil Nadu. How has the morning begun?
Good morning, Preeti. Happy Pongal to you. And across country, the harvesting festival is celebrated in various names as Sankranti, Bihu and Lohiri and also various places. And in Tamil Nadu, particularly in southern India, it's celebrated as Pongal. To thank the sun god for the harvesting. Last 6 months, they have hard work of preparing various crops and paddies. And the farmers will be today celebrating to thank the god, and particularly this day will be a kind of community together to join together to thank the god of sun. And particularly they are making the Pongal, the traditional dish of Tamil Nadu, where they will be making a rice, milk and jaggery. And one of the important of this festival is kind of across, not only in Tamil Nadu, across various countries is celebrated as a harvesting festival. In various countries like Canada, Malaysia, Singapore and Sri Lanka, as a Tamil diaspora is there. They are celebrating as a Pongal. And this particular event is the festival is nearly a 4-day celebration. Started yesterday as a bohi, where they will be burning various old clothes and things. And today as a new beginning. And this actually every month as celebrated in various countries as a Tamil Pride Month. So it's one of the very important festival of Tamil Nadu, also called a Tamil Festival. So today is the first day and second and tomorrow they will be thanking cows and also the cattle, and after tomorrow they will be celebrated together with the family and visiting various tourist places. So kind of very important festival, and we can talk with very young families and also various families. They are very happy because every festival it's a kind of a occasion to celebrate us joy and sharing various moments with the family. And also traditionally this festival across Tamil Nadu, and also one of the important festivals Jallikattu also will be celebrated and will be happening in Tamil Nadu in various locations in next upcoming days.
All right, Anbarasan, thank you so much for joining in with those details. All right, you're watching DD India News Hour. That was of the festivities and the celebrations. Up next, we're heading for a short break. But after the break, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch Mission MOSUM, marking Indian Meteorological Department's 150th Foundation Day. We also get you a special report on relevance of the Armed Forces Veterans Day ahead in the bulletin. Dr. V. Narayanan officially takes up the reins of the Indian Space Research Organisation as the chairman of the prestigious organisation.
This week on Defence Dynamics, unravel the secrets behind India's revolutionary CATS warrior prototype. What are these CATS and how will they redefine the warfare? Why is making fighter jet engines still a monumental challenge? We analyze the hurdles. Can Donald Trump bring an end to Ukraine war after January 20th? A geopolitical analysis you can't miss. Updates on India-Maldives defence ties and the evolving dynamics of Afghan-India relations. This Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch Mission MOSUM on Tuesday as part of the events marking the 150th Foundation Day of the India Meteorological Department. We get to more on this report.
In a landmark occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to launch Mission MOSUM, a groundbreaking initiative to make India a weather-ready and climate-smart nation. This transformative program will be unveiled as part of the 150th Foundation Day celebrations of the India Meteorological Department.
There will be first 2 sessions on early warning for all. There will be 1 session on the early warning for all in a global perspective, another session on early warning for all national perspective. The objective is to take stock of the current status of weather and climate services in the globe and in the country, the gap areas, and to strategize the plans of actions to fill those gaps and to improve the services for the people.
Prime Minister Modi will also unveil the IMD Vision 2047 document, a roadmap for weather forecasting, climate change mitigation, and adaptive strategies.
We will have a Vision 2047 which will be released, and also that document brings out about the current status and strategy to move in this Amrit Kal to have an India which will be weather ready and climate smart by 2047.
With Mission MOSUM and the IMD Vision 2047, India takes a giant leap towards a climate smart future. Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan will attend the 9th Armed Forces Veterans Day event in Aknoor city of Jammu. The event will honour the Armed Forces veterans and Veer Naris. It will be celebrated at Tanda Base, where Rajnath Singh will also inaugurate Aknoor Heritage Museum during his visit. The Jammu and Kashmir Cultural Department will present cultural performances reflecting the region's rich cultural heritage. As a special gesture, mobility equipment like motorized wheelchairs, e-scooters and auto rickshaws will also be distributed to the veterans. The event reflects the Army's respect and unwavering commitment to care for the war widows and veterans who served the nation with pride and dedication. Up next, we also get you this report on the relevance of the Armed Forces Veterans Day, filed by our correspondent Nandita Dagar.
The Armed Forces Veterans Day is celebrated in India on January the 14th to pay respects to the ex-servicemen for their selfless duty and sacrifices and to reinforce solidarity towards the next of kin of these brave hearts. Wreath-laying ceremonies and veterans rallies are organized all across the country to mark the day. Armed Forces Veterans Day is celebrated on the 14th of January every year to recognize the service rendered by the first Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army, Field Marshal K.M. Kariyappa, who retired on this day in 1953. The day was first celebrated in 2016 and it is commemorated every year by hosting interactive events in the honor of the ex-servicemen. The Defence Minister usually leads the celebrations by asserting the unwavering commitment of the Indian government towards the welfare of ex-servicemen. But the day also reminds the citizens that it is a collective responsibility of the people to treat the soldiers and their dependents as their own family and ensure that they stand with them always. The bravery, integrity and professionalism of the Indian soldier is respected and recognized not just by the whole country but by the entire world. Sagar Samvad, Vayu Samvedana and Samman magazines are yearly journals published by the Directorate of Ex-Servicemen Affairs of the Indian Navy, Air Force and Indian Army respectively. They relay information, policies and various topics of interest for the veterans. In New Delhi, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
Singapore President Tharman Shanmugaratnam will begin his 5-day visit to India from today. He will be accompanied by a high-level delegation, including ministers, members of parliament and officials. Now, this would be Tharman's first visit to India as the President of Singapore. The visiting dignitary will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at the forecourts of Rashtrapati Bhavan on Thursday. During his visit, President Tharman will hold discussions with his Indian counterpart Draupadi Murmu, who will also host a banquet in his honour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet with Singapore President, while External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and several other Indian dignitaries will call on the President of Singapore. President Tharman will also visit Odisha from 17th and 18th January, and Singapore will have extensive cooperation based along the tradition of friendship, trust and mutual respect. President Tharman's visit is expected to provide further momentum to the bilateral relations, which were elevated to the level of comprehensive strategic partnership in 2024. The state visit will also mark the beginning of celebrations of the 60th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between India and Singapore. Fissures in the bonds of friendship between India and Bangladesh keep coming up since the interim government took over in Dhaka. On Monday, India summoned Bangladesh envoy to South Block over border fencing issues. At the same time, Indian Army's chief has said that the relationship with China is sensitive but stable and added that there is no animosity with Bangladesh at a military level. DD India's Anil Thomas gets us more details.
A day after the interim government of Bangladesh expressed deep concern about the prevailing situation along the India-Bangladesh border, India summoned the Deputy High Commissioner of Bangladesh, Mohammad Nurul Islam, over border issues to South Block. The acting commissioner was in unequivocal terms explained that India observes all protocols and agreements between the two governments and between the Border Security Force and Border Guard Bangladesh. India conveyed its expectation that all earlier understandings will be implemented by Bangladesh and there will be a cooperative approach to combating cross-border crimes. Earlier, the Indian High Commissioner Pranay Verma said he and the Foreign Secretary discussed Indian commitment to ensuring a crime-free border, effectively addressing the challenges of smuggling, movement of criminals and trafficking.
We have an understanding with regard to fencing the border for security. Our two border guard enforcements, BSF and BGB, have been in communication in this regard. We expect the understanding will be implemented and that cooperative approach to combating crime.
Meanwhile, the Indian Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi has said that the situation on Indian northern border is sensitive but stable. In a press conference, General Dwivedi said there is no animosity with Bangladesh at a military level.
As of today, firstly, there is no vulnerability from any side. I am in touch with the Chief of Bangladesh during the time of when this changeover took place. I was in constant touch with him, and even thereafter in November 24 we had a video conference also. As far as the military cooperation is concerned, is again going up in the same way. Our officers have moved there for the NDC also. There is no let up on that side.
The India-Bangladesh border is one of the longest shared borders in the world and has been a focal point of bilateral relations for decades. The ties between India and Bangladesh need urgent attention. They need to resolve the border issues and uphold peace along the 4,096-kilometer border. With Naval Sangh Parmar in Dhaka and my colleague Amrit Singh, Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
Dr. V. Narayanan officially assumed the charge as chairman of the Indian Space Research Organisation on Tuesday. He succeeds Dr. S. Somnath and brings with him a legacy of over 4 decades of exemplary service in India's space program. He also holds the charge of chairman of Space Commission and secretary of the Department of Space. Dr. Narayanan previously served as the director of Liquid Propulsion Systems Center at ISRO. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Political parties have ramped up their campaigns as Delhi Assembly elections draw closer. Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party candidate Atishi is set to file her nomination today from Kalkaji Assembly constituency. Scheduled on February 5th are the elections. The AAP leader is in the electoral fray against BJP candidate Ramesh Biduri and Congress's Alka Lamba for the Kalkaji seat. India's National Testing Agency has postponed the University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test for January 15th. The exams were postponed on the account of festivals including Pongal and Makar Sankranti. However, the revised exam date is yet to be announced. India's indigenously developed Nag Mk2, a third-generation anti-tank fire and forget guided missile, successfully completed field trials at the Pokhran range on Monday. The trials validated its maximum and minimum firing range with precise target destruction. The Nag missile carrier version 2 was also evaluated, marking the weapon system's readiness for induction into the Indian Army. Up next, we're heading for a short break. You're watching DD India News Hour, but after the break, North Korea fires unidentified projectiles towards the east coast of South Korea. Greenland ready to work with the US on defense ties. New York City's new congestion pricing zone sees 7.5% drop in traffic.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Up next, a quick recap of the top stories. First, Amrit Snan of the Maha Kumbh, the world's largest religious congregation taking place today. Millions gather in Prayagraj for the holy dip. Firefighters in Los Angeles brace up for more trouble as strong Santa Ana winds set to return. Looting adds to the misery of the displaced as US President Biden says rebuilding the city will cost billions. Oscar nominations postponed for second time amid ongoing wildfires in Los Angeles. Biden says ceasefire deal on the brink of coming to fruition. Negotiators to meet in Doha to finalise plan to end conflict in Gaza after a midnight breakthrough in talks. South Korea on the edge as suspended President Yoon's impeachment trial begins today. Courts to decide if insurrection charges will apply against him. Dangerously high winds returned to Los Angeles on Monday, jeopardizing efforts to contain the massive wildfires. Fire crews were able to keep the fires from spreading overnight and are preparing for increased winds in the days ahead. More than 8,500 firefighters attacked the fires from the air and on the ground, preventing the conflagged rations at either end of Los Angeles from spreading overnight. Officials said the state was pre-positioning firefighting crews in vulnerable areas, not just in Los Angeles, but also in other South California counties that were also under elevated danger. Meanwhile, Mexican firefighters arrived in Los Angeles over the weekend on Saturday to assist in battling the ongoing LA wildfires. The team was briefed alongside their American counterparts before being deployed to the fire lines on Monday, following a required training in Riverside. U.S. President Joe Biden convened senior White House and administration officials for a briefing on the federal response to the Los Angeles fires and said that California fire recovery will cost tens of billions of dollars. Joe Biden announced additional disaster assistance for California, covering costs for debris removal and emergency protective measures.
You know, although the federal government is going to cover 100% of the cost for the next 180 days for things like firefighter overtime pay, debris removal, temporary shelters, it's going to cost tens of billions of dollars to get Los Angeles back to where it was. So we're going to need Congress to step up to provide funding to get this done. And we're going to get that done, God willing.
President-elect Donald Trump is also planning to visit the disaster zone after his inauguration next week. With thousands of homeowners facing a costly rebuilding, large commercial banks, including JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America, have announced plans to ease mortgage repayment conditions for the afflicted. Insurers are looking at historic losses. The entertainment and sports worlds have also been shaken. 12 Los Angeles pro sports teams on Monday pledged to donate a combined $8 million to support victims and firefighters. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has postponed the announcement of this year's Oscar nominations for a second time due to the ongoing wildfires in Los Angeles. The nominations for the film industry's highest honors will now be announced on January 23rd. They originally had been set for this Friday and then moved to January 19th. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences also moved its nomination announcement online as Hollywood tries to navigate the somber mood at the time it would usually be in full throttle on the red carpet. The Academy also cancelled the annual Oscar nominees' lunch, which had been set for February 10th. The Academy Awards telecast is still scheduled to take place on March 2nd. However, the Grammy slated for February 2 will proceed as planned despite the devastating fires scorching Los Angeles. Before one of the most destructive fires in California history swept through, the Pacific Palisades neighborhood on Los Angeles' west side was filled with expensive homes fronted by green, well-tented landscaping and popular boutiques and cafes. This week, the Palisades fire leveled much of it to blackened rubble. Deputies are finding human remains every day as they search through burned-out parts. In the face of the devastation, hundreds of volunteers gathered at Santa Anita Park racetrack on Sunday in Arcadia, close to the Eaton fire, hauling in boxes of food, clothing and diapers for distribution to the victims. Volunteers waited in long lines for an opportunity to help. Altadena resident Michael Soto is one of the lucky ones. Let's listen to him.
We have no access in and out, so I have to protect my house, from looters and just help out our neighbors. We're doing, throughout the night, we're all waking up, making sure no one's that's not supposed to be here is walking around. The cops are doing the best they can, but at the end, we have to protect our own. That's all we could do and help each other out. So we're all looking out for each other.
In South Korea, the Constitutional Court will hold the first hearing of suspended President Yoon's impeachment trial. Arguments are due to begin on Tuesday afternoon in a trial to decide the fate of President Yoon Suk-yeol, who was impeached after his short-lived bid to impose martial law threw the country into the worst political chaos in decades. The full-fledged hearing will begin exactly a month after the case was filed on 14th of last month. The Constitutional Court must decide within 180 days whether to remove Yoon from office or restore his presidential powers. Yoon also faces a criminal investigation for alleged insurrection, with authorities seeking to execute an arrest warrant after he ignored summons to appear for questioning. Separate to the trial, a joint team of investigators from the Corruption Investigation Office, which is probing Yoon over insurrection, and police are preparing a fresh attempt to arrest Yoon. An earlier attempt failed after Yoon's presidential guards blocked access to investigators. If the new warrant is executed successfully, Yoon would become the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested. If eventually convicted in that case, Yoon faces prison or even death penalty. All right, DD India's Anil Thomas joins us with the latest from New Delhi. Anil, good morning. We've just given a broad outline of what all is happening in South Korea. You get us more. How tough is it for Yoon at present?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Well, nothing much has changed. One takes a look at how things have gone about. This particular meeting that's going to take place, or this particular constitutional bench that's going to sit, remember, it's besides the Supreme Court that exists. It's considered to be, the book that South Koreans go to, or South Koreans lawmakers go to, especially when it comes to matters related to the Constitution, and they follow it to the T. So that's one part of it. The first is, there are going to be 5 hearings to it. There is a time period of 180 days. And I think Yoon's lawyers are very clear right from day one. Today, it's very unlikely that Yoon is going to leave his palace in Seoul and reach for the hearing. His lawyers have clearly indicated it's almost unlikely or impossible that Yoon is going to appear in person, looking at the security factors that have been placed before the court. So the next hearing is on 16th. There are 5 hearings that take place that begin today on the 14th. You've got one on 16th, got the third one on 21st, 23rd, and the last one on February 4th. That's the cycle for this particular hearings that are going to take place, and a full time period of 180 days. I think Yoon's lawyers are very clear. Let's use up this 6 months. There's going to be let's see how things play out, and then let's take it to a logical conclusion. But in all likelihood, the bench that is there before that's going to decide the fate is not very much in favor of Yoon. But having said that, the bench is generally not in favor of anybody, because remember, there are 9 judges on the bench. 3 are selected by the president. So, of the 3, 2 are selected by Yoon and his cabinet. Then there are 3 that are selected by the Supreme Court and 3 by others, which also includes the other political factions. Of the 8-judge bench, I think only 2 would directly or indirectly be appointed by Yoon and his colleagues or his cabinet. So in that proposition too, Yoon doesn't have a good chance of seeing it through. But having said all this, 180 days is a long period of time. A lot could change in South Korea. Remember, the last 6 weeks, we have seen political chaos take place, 2 presidents being impeached. And that's just the beginning of the long saga that South Korea has seen. Remember, South Korea is the 4th largest economy in the Asian continent. And a lot depends on South Korea, the political developments that take place. And at least on the present day context, inside South Korea, within South Korea, and beyond South Korea, Asia and the world, the message, the political tumultuous journey that South Korea is facing is something that the world is seeing with shock.
All right, Anil, now Yoon faces a criminal impeachment, a criminal case there, criminal investigation, in fact, for alleged insurrection. He also, faces the impeachment trial. Put all this together, what options are really available to him at present?
Well, there are 2 things that Yoon, in particular, his lawyers are looking forward to, especially when it comes to this constitutional bench that he is attending. There are 5 hearings, as I mentioned, and he's also got 180-day time span. That's the first part of it. To the other criminal charges that are against him, the chief investigating officer or the criminal investigating team that's trying to arrest, who's had a failed attempt at arresting Yoon, will make another bid. I think this time around, they have want people who are protesting, people who are objecting, pro as well as against, to stay away from this particular political chaos that's developing in South Korea. It's a double whammy that Yoon faces. And in this entire political, mishmash that's happening in South Korea, Yoon, you would be surprised to know that Yoon has got a 3% salary hike. Remember, he is still purely on paper, but that's for the constitutional bench to decide whether he stays or he doesn't stay, whether his powers are to be curtailed or not. That is for the constitutional bench. That has a 180 period timeline. In the midst, you've seen him get a 3% salary hike. whereas the minimum salary hike that South Koreans get is generally 1.5%. But having said that, Yoon getting 3%, not only Yoon, the next person who came in as an acting president, who's also impeached, has also got a 3% hike. If one puts that into context, the South Koreans are feeling a bit cheated. The house is divided, especially when it comes to Yoon getting these benefits, irrespective of the fact that there are two charges, one in the constitutional court, one are criminal charges against him. He still happens to get a salary hike of 3%. So, it's all not boiling down well in South Korea. One needs to understand that, Yoon troubles keep mounting, but Yoon with his bunch of lawyers, the best lawyers in South Korea are defending him. And that's something that's come to his aid time and again. But if one takes a look at the larger graph, he could just be playing with time, not much that Yoon can do, because, at the end of the day, he'll either have to be arrested or he'll wait for the Constitution Bench ruling to come. Six months time frame is all that he has where he can play around long. But I think there has been a precedent where these kind of things have happened in South Korea before with presidents, 2004, 2017, two impeachments that went against the president. So this is something very similar that you would see. This is not something new that South Koreans have seen, but surely for the world, yes. But for South Korea, this is something very common. I think this particular story that's played out, especially the Yoon story, especially when it comes to impeachment, is acting in also getting impeached. 6 weeks of political chaos that South Korea has seen. I think it's time to bring some kind of semblance, especially into the politics in South Korea. And I think all the political leaders need to come into play, because now the acting president who's sitting in the chair is not ready at least to take any sides. He said, let the law take its own course.
Anil, very quickly, now something of this sort which South Korea is witnessing, you tell us, is not common there. Does it mean that South Korea will not be advertently be affected by this? Added to this, will it also have any regional consequences?
Well, surely. First, South Koreans, especially those backing Yoon and those against it, there is a conflict between them, and it's for the investigating team to now make some kind of headway. They have again got an arrest warrant issued, but can they make progress? That's the first question that one is looking to get answers for. They have at least acted tough, but it is unlikely that they can arrest Yoon. And this particular, especially the chief of staff indicating that Yoon is ready to cooperate with the investigating team, clearly, leaves a mixed bag, especially when it comes to the two houses that are looking into it. The constitutional bench, he's not attending this one. If there is a security cover that he gets, it's likely that he can attend the second one that's scheduled for the 16th, is what his lawyers have indicated. But the chief of his staff or his security has indicated that, he's ready to cooperate, however, whatever be the situation that arises out of it. So that's where you leave the investigation part of it. South Korea going through this political chaos is not good for Asia in particular. Remember, your first impact that all this could see is investors who are looking to invest in the region. And this particular political chaos, this particular tumultuous, political scenario does not leave hope in the minds of investors. I think investors will pull out of the market, and that's something South Korea needs to be careful about. Remember, it's the 4th largest economy in Asia, and it is something, and it is also from a geopolitical point of view, a great ally of US, United States of America, and also a great power in the Asian continent. So South Korea's political instability could have ramifications inside Asia, inside the continent, outside it. And I think that is something that the world is watching closely on this developing issue, which has got many twists and turns still to follow, as this particular development takes place over the next 6 months.
All right, Anil, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. And North Korea on Tuesday fired an unidentified missile towards the east coast of South Korea. South Korea's military said that North Korea fired an unidentified projectile towards East Sea. The launch came about a week after North Korea fired what it claimed was a new intermediate range hypersonic ballistic missile, which was North Korea's first missile since November 5th. The latest launch also occurred days before US President-elect Donald Trump, who held unprecedented summits with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during his first term and has touted their personal rapport, returns to office. High-stakes negotiations aimed at ending over 15 months of conflict in Gaza and securing the release of hostages held by Hamas are reportedly advancing. Mediators gave Israel and Hamas a final draft of a deal on Monday after a midnight breakthrough in talks attended by envoys of both outgoing US President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. Biden said a ceasefire and hostage release deal had been championed and it was on the brink of coming to fruition, and Hamas said it was keen on reaching an agreement.
Hamas are on the brink of a proposal that I laid out in detail months ago, finally coming to fruition. The deal we restructured would free the hostages, halt the fighting, provide security to Israel, and allow us to significantly surge humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians who suffered terribly in this war that Hamas started. Israel deserves peace and real security. And the hostages and their families deserve to be reunited. And so we're working urgently to close this deal.
President Biden will speak to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi soon, as he earlier did with leaders of Israel and Qatar, while another round of talks are planned in Doha on Tuesday morning to finalize the remaining details. Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Biden's envoy, Brett McGurk, are expected to attend as they had on Monday. An Israeli official said negotiations were in advanced stages for the release of up to 33 hostages as part of the deal. The United States, Qatar and Egypt have worked for more than a year on talks to end the conflict in Gaza. Gaza's ceasefire proposal focuses mainly on 4 points. We take a look at our next report to know the details.
Potential details of the draft agreement includes hostage return, troop withdrawal, increase in humanitarian aid, and future governance of Gaza. In the first stage, 33 hostages would be set free. These include children, women, including female soldiers, men above 50, wounded and sick. Israel believes most are alive but has had no official confirmation from Hamas. If the first stage proceeds as planned, on the 16th day from the deal taking effect, negotiations would start on a second stage, during which the remaining living hostages, male soldiers and men of military age, would be released and the bodies of the dead hostages will be returned. The deal would also include troop withdrawal, which would be phased, with Israeli forces remaining in the border perimeter to defend Israeli border towns and villages. In addition, there would be security arrangements at the Philadelphia corridor along the southern edge of Gaza, with Israel withdrawing from parts of it after the first few days of the deal. Unarmed North Gaza residents would be allowed back, with a mechanism to ensure no weapons are moved there. Israeli troops will withdraw from the Netzarim corridor in central Gaza. Palestinian terrorists convicted of murder or deadly attacks would also be released, but numbers would depend on the number of alive hostages. Hamas fighters who took part in the October 7 attack would not be released. The next part of the draft includes increase in aid into the Gaza Strip, which would be significantly increased. Last but not the least, who will run Gaza after the conflict is one of the great unknowns of the negotiations, and it appears that the current round of talks have not even addressed the issue due to its complexity and the likelihood it would hold up a limited deal. Israel has said from the beginning of its campaign in Gaza that it would retain security control over the enclave after the fighting ends, and that Hamas can play no role at all. However, there have been discussions between Israel, the United Arab Emirates and the United States over a provisional administration that would run Gaza until a reformed Palestinian Authority is able to take charge. Bureau Report, DD India.
Greenland is looking to strengthen its defense and mining ties with the United States, albeit on its own terms, following the renewed interest from US President-elect Donald Trump. Greenland Prime Minister Knut Igere said that his government was looking for ways to cooperate with the United States and that it was ready to start a dialogue with Trump's incoming administration, but stressed it would be up to it to decide how it should proceed. Igere had summoned the leaders of Greenland's political parties to a meeting in the capital Nuuk to discuss the collective approach to the US interest. Donald Trump, who takes office on January 20th last week, returned to an idea floated during his first term of acquiring the strategically important and mineral-rich Arctic island, and described US control of Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory, as absolute necessity. New York traffic fell on Monday after a 9 concession fee that came into effect on January 5th. According to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, 273,000 fewer cars entered the central business district from Monday to Friday, with the traffic dropping to 7.5%. The congestion fee, the first of its kind in the US, charges car drivers up to $9 a day with varying rates for other vehicles. The congestion zone covers an area south of Central Park, taking in such well-known sites as the Empire State Building, Times Square and the financial district around Wall Street. And now we take a look at updates from the world of sports. The India Open will begin in New Delhi a short while from now. India fields its biggest ever squad with 46 players. Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy, Chirag Shetty, Lakshya Sen, HS Pranoy and PV Sindhu lead the charge. Top-tier action awaits as India's finest face the global challengers. Take a look.
India Open Badminton Tournament will take place at the KD Jadhav Indoor Hall in New Delhi from January 14 to 19. Over 200 players from top badminton nations will battle for glory. India is fielding its largest ever contingent. Leading the charge are Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty, Lakshya Sen, HS Pranoy and PV Sindhu.
I haven't played the Indian Open last year due to the injury. So for me, I think it's definitely going to be very special and especially happening in India. So I'm really looking forward for it. And I think it's going to start soon. That's from tomorrow. So I hope I do well and give my best.
Ranki Reddy and Shetty, fresh off a semi-final run at the Malaysia Open, aim for their first title of 2025. In men's singles, Lakshya and Pranoy will seek to bounce back from disappointing outings in Kuala Lumpur, while Priyanshu Rajawat adds depth to the squad.
Last year was a bit tough for me as well, coming this close to a medal and then missing out. But yeah, I think for me the fire inside, it's still burning, and I want to come back stronger from that and do well in the next this year and then leading up to the next Olympics. And yeah, I think it was tough, but yeah, I think I'm looking forward, and the fire inside is me still burning to do well in the future tournaments.
Last year we played the finals here, and I think to see that crowd, the people that turned up at the stadiums, I think it was incredible because like you said, as athletes, you want to play in those stadiums where there is a massive crowd that has turned up, and to be playing in that KD Jadhav Hall with so many people turning up in the finals, I think it was incredible.
Fans can look forward to thrilling matches as India's finest face global stars, including Victor Axelsen and Shi Yuki in this electrifying event. Narayan Singh's report, DD India.
The Indian men's team defeated Nepal in the opening match of the inaugural Kho-Kho World Cup at the Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium on Monday. Before the clash, India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia and IOA President PT Usha were among the high-profile personalities who attended the star-studded opening ceremony. Led by captain Prateek Vaikar, India got off to a brilliant start in the tournament as it registered a comfortable 42-37 victory over Nepal. India is set to clash against Brazil on Tuesday. Meanwhile, in the women's section, the host will kick off its campaign against South Korea. The Los Angeles wildfire disaster has posed a threat over the preparations for the 2028 Olympics. The deadly fires, experts say, the ongoing disaster have underscored the challenges of staging the world's largest sporting event in a region increasingly under the threat of wildfires. The 2028 Olympics will be taking place in July, a time of the year when there are Santa Ana winds, the powerful seasonal gusts, widely seen as the biggest factor behind the unprecedented scale and scope of last week's carnage. Los Angeles has already staged the Olympics successfully on two occasions, in 1984 and 1932. India's harvest festivals mark the beginning of the harvest season and hold deep cultural and religious significance. Whether it's a holy dip in Maha, Makar Sankranti in North India, Lohri in Punjab, Pongal in South India, Uttarayan in Gujarat or Bihu in northeastern states, the festivities reflect our rich cultural heritage. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.